traditions and even hundreds of different practices of cultivation. Um, some of those, you know, in addition to sort of alchemizing tensions and blockages in the subtle body, there's sometimes practices that relate to sort of clearing out um, uh, stuff that's in the subtle body. So sort of maybe it's like the residue from the inner work we do, or there's like imbalances in the subtle body, the energy is flowing through it. Um, that's sort of the context of my question. And then the question itself is, I'm curious if Rudy um, learned any techniques along those lines of this sort of psychic hygiene from Muktananda or Nityananda, or if he came up with any of his own, if he taught anything along those lines of sort of the psychic hygiene and clearing out the subtle body, in addition to doing the kind of cultivation and transformation work.
Make the question a little simpler, okay?
Okay. Yeah. Did Rudy teach anything um, that has to do with sort of basic daily psychic hygiene? I know there's the technique of kind of bringing awareness into the root of the heart chakra. Other than that, are there techniques that he taught?
Yes, he did. It's exactly what we're doing here.
Mm.
I mean, in order to clear up, as you call it, psychic hygiene and basic tension of everyday living, we need to develop a chakra system in ourselves that is really strong. And if we don't develop this chakra system, we are prey to, uh, God knows, psychic demons and all kinds of magic and all kinds of stuff that goes on in the world, including the tensions of everyday living, earning a living, having to feed ourselves, family, friendships, all the stuff that really creates tension in life. We need to develop a chakra system that's strong enough to do three things. And I've said this many, many times over and over again. There are three elements to this meditation. First one is karma. We're not born in heaven. We're not born in some angelic sphere where the gods and goddesses are romping and playing. We're born on the earth in a world of conflict and contrast and difficulty and, above everything else, tension. And we need to learn how to build a system inside that's strong enough to do a very simple thing. And that is truly, how do we transform this tension into an open heart, into love, into compassion, so that by doing this, we work out our karma on the earth. I mean, if anything is psychic hygiene, it's that, how to clear up and overcome the blocks and tensions in oneself so that we can truly live here with an open heart. Second thing is spirit. In the opening to the spiritual realm, there are many endless layers of reality. And there's the bardo, there's there are all kinds of zones and, of energy that lead to a oneness with God and the universe. And, in order to make that connection, it's making a connection with the single most powerful energy in the universe. It's the energy that is creating everything. It's creating all of life. It's creating all of death. It's creating everything in between. And we have to have a very strong chakra system inside to open and receive that energy. So that energy can help us transform the blocks, the tensions inside, the habits, the things that we do every day that divert from truly having some kind of purity within ourselves. So this energy of a higher nature is a really powerful energy. The energy of karma is a really powerful energy. The energy of Kundalini is another powerful energy. And we need to build a system inside that is strong enough to deal with these three forces. One is karma, why we're born on the earth, what we have to work out. And what do I mean by working out? How do we arrive in a state in ourselves where there's unconditional love, where there's compassion, where we have the inner strength to live that way, to forgive people, to have patience with life, and to truly understand that it's all a creation of God that is teaching us exactly what we need to learn to grow. Second element is spirit. You understand, dealing with what they in the Bhagavad Gita, when I always say this, manifests in himself. When Krishna manifests himself to Arjuna, as if the light of 1,000 suns suddenly appeared in the sky. It's energy beyond all human comprehension that we are trying to connect with. That is the fountainhead of all creativity, the source of all creativity in the universe, a oneness with God. We need to have a chakra system that is highly developed, really strong. And this is the essence of what Rudy taught, he taught me, and what I'm trying to pass on to all of you, to build that kind of a system inside that can do three things: work out karma, connect with spirit, to be able to receive that Shakti, that energy that helps transform us inside, and to attain, by activating Kundalini, to attain a spirit state of enlightenment, a oneness with God. All of this works together. And the incredible thing that is different about Rudy, what Rudy taught, and what just any other teacher I have ever sat around taught, is the first step in this, in order to do what I'm talking about, with this spiritual hygiene, this spiritual cleansing, is to get focused in the chakra right below the navel. That is the core, the balance, the foundation, the rootedness in a human being. And by building that chakra, you get the strength to do all of the other things. You understand? It's like a triangle. It's life and it's spirit. And then there's the freedom from everything, the rising of Kundalini. But all of this is based on the development of a chakra system. Because the chakra system is one's direct connection with higher energy in the universe. It, first of all, enables us to function here like human beings. You understand? On the highest level of what our humanity is. With love, as I say 100 times, quiet inside, calmer. It's so funny, Ellie got a text from some person about one of my lectures where I talk about everybody, when people die, everybody writes cards, RIP, rest in peace. So, I said somewhere in one of my talks, shouldn't be RIP, it should be LIP, live in peace. Because if you learn to live in peace with this conflicted and difficult world we live in, they say, you're going to rest in peace. You're going to be a child of God. You're going to find your spiritual enlightenment. And the essence of what Rudy taught evolves around everything that I have mentioned just now. And one of the most important elements in it, which I never found in just about any other teacher, I was told chant mantras, love, peace, and eat vegetables. I was told all kinds of stuff like this, and then I would say, well, how the hell do I get my mind to shut up? How do I get my emotions to shut up? How do I get to deal with sexual energy, which is very powerful energy? And until I met Rudy, I had no idea how to do this. Yes, people say become celibate and eat, no meat and this and that, eat only vegetables and chant mantras and yeah, okay, it kind of quieted me down for a few moments. And then the rest of the day, I'm dealing with this mind that doesn't shut up. And when Rudy told me, bring your attention to the chakra below the navel, therein lies the power to get your mind to stay quiet. Therein lies the strength to live with an open heart. Therein lies the strength to, use your sexual energy in a way that it will activate Kundalini and is a pathway to spiritual enlightenment. And suddenly my reason and purpose for being got clear. There was a way to do this. And this is what Rudy taught. And it's this basic exercise that we practice here. And also having patience, discovering one simple reality. The only person on this planet that any of us are up against is ourselves. We create the blocks. We create the reality that we see every day. We create a world that exists around us. And there aren't two people alive that create the same reality. So we got to deal with all this stuff. How? By building that system, that chakra system, our direct link to higher energy in the universe, to God, to spiritual enlightenment. But it's a system that has to be developed over time, doesn't come immediately. And it's, and it's something that will work. What I love about it, it works uniquely for each and every human being. No two people will experience this exercise in exactly the same way because everybody is unique. And everybody has, karma to work out, spiritual energy to receive, and a pathway to enlightenment. And the way we work out our karma is unique to each and every one of us. The ultimate goal is God is love. We are basically children of God. And we have to learn this, and we have to learn to live with this. How do we do it? Not by somebody writing God is love on a blackboard. Oh, yeah, that's a great idea, But practice, training, time, developing a system inside that is truly strong enough to do what I'm talking. It takes years sometimes, many years, to develop this kind of system. But many years is not a lot of time in comparison to how many lifetimes people have to live that live here unconsciously. So it's a way of purifying one's inner self. As you said, something about spiritual hygienics, it's, and believe me, look, I don't want to get into the stuff I've seen with spiritual teachers and gurus, and it's basically why I stay away from most of them. I really do, because I got just tired of all this stuff that used to go on and power plays and this magic and et cetera, et cetera. I must say it made me very strong having to deal with that. It made me very, very strong. And it gave me a sense of reality and wisdom that I could have only gotten from the person who gave me my life, and that was Rudy. And his basic exercise is like a miracle. It's truly a miracle that people can sit here and do this and purify themselves, work out their karma, connect with spirit, and attain a state of enlightenment by building a system that is strong enough inside to be able to do what I'm talking about. It's not just something that happens. It's like a covenant we have to make with God. This is our work, whether it's in this practice or another practice or some other practice. That is the work, the covenant the human being makes with higher energy in the universe. I will do the work. I will learn how to open the door that leads to spiritual enlightenment. I will get strong enough to master myself so I can do this by using the tools I'm born with, by using the mind and the breath and a need and a hunger to be with God. This is what Rudy taught. And I'll tell you frankly, it probably is not, if you listen to his talks, it's not in the words that I'm using now. He had his own way of explaining all this stuff. And but it gets back to a simple reality. How do you build that inner strength? I mean, even, you go into Tibetan Buddhism and Milarepa and Mappa, and that whole situation is one of the great teachings, where he spent 13 years, building and tearing down houses that Mappa wanted to live in. At the end of that time, what could have been left of his ego? Nothing. Nothing. Became the poet saint of Tibet. There he's sculpted with his hand to his ear, listening to the sound of the universe, But none of us here have to build and tear down a house. It's a metaphor for the stuff that we all have to go through in order to get spiritual enlightenment. And you can't put it off. If people put it off, they just, go to the Bardo realm and they fix you up a little bit, send you back to the earth. Try again.
Thank you, Stuart.
Is that clear?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Look, I met Rudy over 50 years ago. I've been doing this work a very long time, and I don't do it because it was Rudy. You know why I do this? It works. That's the only reason I do it. It works. If it didn't work, I would have been looking for somebody else. But first of all, it saved my life when I was a kid. It literally saved my life. I was ready to put myself in a sanitarium. I didn't know what to do with myself. It was either a sanitarium or to go to California and hang out with Allen Ginsberg and Ferlinghetti and all the hippie, the beatniks and that whole poetry scene. A friend of mine invited me out there. I'll introduce you to all these people. They'll love your poetry. And then the same day, I got that letter I met Rudy. And I was ready to pack my bag and go to San Francisco, or put myself in a sanitarium. I couldn't deal with it anymore. And that exercise transformed my life. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today, if it wasn't for this basic double breathing exercise that Rudy taught me over 50 years ago. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? And just an addendum, this exercise hasn't worked for me the way it worked for Rudy. We were two different people. The adventure of my life was quite different than Rudy's life, but it came out of the same source, the same exercise. So I tell everybody, your experience in this, each and every person's experience in this will be completely unique, because each and every one of us is a unique being. But the pathway will get to a state of enlightenment. What you have to go through, your karma. And I love that idea, because if I looked out and saw everybody here looking exactly like Stuart, wearing the same orange T-shirt, and I probably would cancel these classes. No, this is not working. And seeing everybody being uniquely themselves and wonderfully themselves, and each and every person on a completely different path, but everybody's path leads to a state of enlightenment, to a oneness with God. Great question, Brian. Really forced me to have some really deep stuff in this. Very good. Thank you. Does anyone else have a question you would like?
I have a question.
Yes,
So where does the psychic tension release exercise just come in?
the
Psychic
psychic tension exercise?
release, isn't that what you called it?
Yeah, well, that's a way of getting rid of surface tension.
Hmm.
You just let your arms drop at your side. You sit straight in a chair or a bench or somewhere, and then you just say, please help me to surrender all negative psychic tension. And be sure you say negative psychic tension because everything is tension. You'll surrender your whole life there, right off the ends of your hands. So please help me to surrender all negative psychic tension. And you'll feel it. It's like a scum that comes right off the ends of your hands. And suddenly you start relaxing inside. That surface tension is no longer creating problems. You do that for 5 minutes. Good to do before a meditation class. Or during the day, you sit down somewhere and just take 5 minutes and let your arms drop and just help me to surrender all negative psychic tension.
Yeah, I should do that.
Yes, please, Kanda.
Yeah, I know.
Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, thank you from all over the world. God bless you all. This class is amazing. The people here from 4 different continents. And I used to poo-poo anything with, Zoom, this, that. I'd be sitting here doing this, and it's like a miracle to be able to connect with people on 4 different continents and sit and do this kind of meditation. And it works. That's what's the most extraordinary thing of all. It works. It really works. Okay, God bless you all. Have a wonderful day. And I'm looking forward to seeing you. There'll be class on Tuesday. There'll also be a class this evening that Pat will teach, and a class tomorrow evening that I'll be teaching. God bless you. And I'll be looking forward to seeing everybody.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.
Stuart.
Thank
What a
you.
blessing.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.